Good afternoon, everybody. What a lovely way to start live at the waterhole this afternoon over in Oldonyo in Kenya with these very magnificent looking giraffe, very dramatic sky in the background. It is lovely to be joining you this afternoon. My name is Kerry Dupree, and on our tech team today, we have Simba and Nadine will be joining us as our director today. It is a lovely warm day in southern Africa. We are dying for some more rains, which looks like might be on the cards for today in Kenya. You can definitely see some nice rainy weather building up. Hopefully, they also receive some rainfall shortly, just as we are praying for in southern Africa. Temperatures are skyrocketing in some parts of South Africa. We're reaching temperatures of 31 to 36 degrees across different locations in South Africa. So we're also praying for some rain. This weather does look delightful in Kenya. I'm sure any moment some wind is going to build up and a huge downpour is on the way. Maybe that's why these giraffe have come down to the watering hole. So, just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience. You can head over and watch us on the app. If you want to send through those questions and comments, don't forget to register. Use the QR code on screen. Don't forget to use the hashtag at Wild Earth to join in the conversation. Tell me if there's any locations you would like to check out today, any special birds you're looking for, or mammals or particular wildlife. And if you're using X, just again, don't forget to use that hashtag at Wild Earth. It is a lovely day. Check out this sky in Kenya. I can't get over this dramatic landscape. So it looks like we've got a few male giraffe here, at least one or two young bulls and a couple of females. It's again lovely to see these giraffe. They look very curious. I wonder if there's something lurking around, looking very intently over to the left-hand side of our screen here. Getting a lot of comments through. Thanks for sending all your comments, everyone. So we've got Colin Eames. Yes, it is me. I am with you today. Colin, thank you for joining us again. And I hope you have a lovely Animal Fest today. Joanne Miller, happy Tuesday. It definitely is a lovely Tuesday. And I'm very happy to be starting off this afternoon over in Kenya. What a lovely scenery we have here with these giraffe. They always look pretty chilled. I think giraffe would be a very good spirit animal. Very wise, very tall and majestic and silent. So Nadine is commenting, I'm not sure if a giraffe would be a good spirit animal to have because they do always look quite nervous. And they do look a little bit stressed from time to time. But I like the whole vibe of a giraffe. They're very, very calm and very peaceful. And they actually have no audible sounds to humans. They have a lot of kind of infrasound. So they do actually communicate with each other. Even though a lot of the time they do look like they're just standing there looking over into the abyss with a very blank stare. I always wonder what's going on in the mind of a giraffe or if they're just staring to stare. So obviously they've got a very, very tall mammals, so they can have a very good eyesight and see for very long distances. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted. I wonder if our viewers can help us out. I'd love to know who would like to have a giraffe as your spirit animal. I think Nadine has made me question my original decision. So I think I'm on the fence at the moment. I was thinking they could be quite a cool spirit animal, but now I'm second guessing. So Nadine is commenting about, yeah, the eyesight. Having that incredible eyesight of a giraffe would be incredible to see for such far distances. Because imagine you don't have to walk that far. You can just be like, "Hey, Steve, what's up over there?" Yeah, hey, how you doing? But again, the whole anxiety of being such a tall mammal, and also they're very clumsy when they fall down, and they have these giant knock knees. So please, I would love all of our viewers today to send through your comments if you would like to have a giraffe as your spirit animal. A simple yes or a no. Love to know what the votes come in for Do you like giraffe? I'm happy to have my zebra as my spirit animal. I think they're short and feisty and fast, and they've got, yeah, they you don't mess with zebra. Um, so I'm happy to have a zebra as a spirit animal. Giraffe, I'm a bit also a bit skeptical now. So a few more comments coming through. So Ari, thank you for joining us again, Ari. I hope your weather's good in the Netherlands. Thanks for joining us for a second day in the row, Ari. It's lovely to see some more viewers watching us here live at the Waterhole. Fuzzy Dunlop, I hope that we are having a tawny Tuesday on our sunrise and sunset safaris today as well. That would be lovely to see some more tawny mammals, maybe even some kitty cats this afternoon. And then we've got Ollie the Oxpecker. I do love that handle. That is a pretty cool handle, Ollie. I'm not going to forget that one. I believe you are a new member, Ollie. So thank you for joining our Wild Earth team. And I hope you enjoy this lovely session this afternoon with us here live at the Waterhole. Got some more comments coming through. Mr. Ellie Mental. Hello, hello, and a lovely sunny Wednesday. Oh, no, it's actually Tuesday. Sunny Tuesday afternoon to you, Ellie, over in Australia. It's always great to see how many viewers are watching us from all over the world. We also have Mercedes Bean. Thank you for joining us again on this lovely Tuesday. Shucks, we've got a lot of viewers watching today. Always lovely to see. And then we've got another new viewer, Harioli. Sorry for if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Um, Thank you for joining the team of chatters today. Shucks, 32 degrees in Cape Town. Must be scorching. I hope you at least have a bit of a breeze. There is no breeze here at all in Johannesburg. It is just hot, and you want to live next to a pool like a warthog wallowing in the mud. Have a look at this giraffe. This female giraffe. She's very beautiful. And again, I'm wondering what on earth is going on inside her mind. Is she just enjoying a bit of a munch? Is she thinking about something? Did she see someone? Is she contemplating life? So apparently there is a giraffe here in Oldonyo, a little bit of a strange neck. Just waiting to get the information about this giraffe. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen any unusual giraffe here in Oldonyo, although yeah, there's a lot of giraffe here. The other day, I think we must have had at least 10, 12 giraffes. So sometimes it can get a little bit chaotic with lots of giraffe all around this pan. So it is quite a popular pan. Giraffe love to come and feed here, and of course, it's a lovely area for the giraffe to feed on as well. Okay, so apparently this unusual giraffe we're looking at is, or looking for, his name is Jonas, if I believe that's his name, and it could be this one. Now I'm having a look to see any interesting features. Apparently, he has a bit of a funny neck or something. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yes, he does have a very strange neck. She has got a big lump on her neck there. How unusual. Definitely a distinguishing feature that. We were really zoomed in close and you could barely see it. So a lot of those white patterns can sometimes camouflage unusual shapes. It could be a bit of an abscess or a growth of some sort. Um, you get malignant growths or growths that might not be of any concern. They could have had an injury of some sort. But yeah, quite unusual to see some growths on this giraffe's neck there. Maybe if we're lucky, she'll pop her head out of this bush and we'll get to see a bit closer what on earth that little growth is. So we got a comment from Marcus. Apparently, this Jonas is the giraffe with a crooked neck, and has a very unusual crooked neck and three, yeah, I was at this exact pan a couple of days ago, so it's not unusual for a giraffe to hang out in the same area and come and drink from the same pan. So very unusual growth, though. But thank you for sharing that information. It's really awesome to add some characters with some names here in Oldonyo. Besides the big elephant 1 ton and a few of the other big tuskers, it's not too many of the same individuals that I can recognize coming to this pan. Of course, we do have some big elephant bulls, and a couple of warthogs. We do get the oryx coming through. It's always lovely to see such an array of wildlife at this pan. I think the most mammal species I've ever seen at this pan in Oldonyo was, I think it was 5 different mammal species. It was a pretty epic sighting. So Joanne Mello, apparently your spirit animal would be a cheetah. Very agile, very fast, calculating. I think that's a pretty cool spirit animal to have, a cheetah. Very cunning, but also very, I feel like they're very loving mothers, cheetah. They're very caring of their cubs. So great spirit animal to have, cheetah. So we're having a look to see if there's any more birds. So folks, at the moment, the wattled starlings are in breeding season. We were just about to link to another location when a big elephant bull decided to pitch up and come and visit us at the watering hole today. So you can see it almost looks like a sheet of rain has actually already broken on the far right hand side of our screen here. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually the wind does start picking up and bring this rain towards us. It'd be really epic. You can even see the grass starting to move here. A bit of wind picked up on the water there. A nice big elephant bull. Again, you can see nice distinguishing feature on this elephant bull here on his ears. It's very good for identification. So when you're doing ID packs for elephants or identification, trying to identify different individuals, obviously you'll use the formation of the tusks. So how the tusks are formed, how long they are, the thickness, and what angle they're pointing. So you can see his right tusk's got a bit of a curve outwards, and the left tusk is a bit shorter and is more kind of straight. And then obviously he's got quite, his ear on the right hand side is pretty much intact, in very good condition, but this ear on the left is a little bit more ragged, has some very interesting identifying features there. And then another cool identifying feature, a unique feature of this elephant, is you can see he's got a little bit of a lump just on the top of his trunk there. So again, that would be used to help to identify different elephants. Another identifying method that's used in elephants, that's a little bit more tricky, are their tracks. So you can actually get either an image of the elephant tracks, or I've actually spent many hours tracing elephant tracks and rhino tracks. I must say it is quite a tedious job. Got your very thin tracing paper over a photo, an image of the track, and you have to trace the whole track of these elephants. But it's a very useful method for tracking these elephants, and it's been used quite a lot in Zimbabwe and Zambia to monitor elephants that have actually been illegally crossing the border from Zimbabwe into Zambia, no passports required, and having a bit of a jilly jolly in Zambia. So yeah, lots of elephant research projects do use these distinguishing factors. Hello, big boy. So I was mentioning earlier, folks, the wattled starlings are actually male wattled starlings are in breeding plumage at the moment. Hopefully, if we're lucky, we might still get a few individuals coming down here. So I know at this pan in Oldonyo, we do get a lot of wattled starling flocks coming in. So I'm praying we might get to see one. It'd be really epic. They have this very shocking black and yellow coloration on their faces. And of course, the males have these yellow wattles, black and yellow wattles. I did see one last year, I think in November, in Rosie's pan. I got really excited. I don't know, they blended in really well because they've got almost a mousy brown color into an acacia tree. And when we had a closer look, realized they were actually 2 wattled starlings sitting in the tree there. So we'll keep our eyes peeled. I'd also love to see those secretary birds. So there are a pair of secretary birds that frequent this pan quite often. Yeah, it has been quite a while since we've seen that pair of secretary birds. I know that they must, at some stage, we were seeing them almost every single day. So maybe they're nesting at the moment. Maybe they've moved into a different area where there's more water or more food. Because some of these acacia trees are perfect breeding grounds for these secretary birds. They make a bit of a platform nest on top of an acacia tree. It's just a lot of sticks. Sometimes you can barely even distinguish that there's a nest in the tree. It's pretty cool to see a secretary bird nest. No, definitely. I think at Amakala, there's been, I think there was one secretary bird that we were following at Amakala that they were seeing on a regular basis. So it's pretty cool to be able to watch that secretary bird chicks growing. Oh, we've still got our giraffe friend is still on the far left, peeking through the vegetation at us. So apparently, secretary birds nest between March and September. So it's not quite their nesting period. So generally, the nesting, unlike most other birds, it actually aligns with the dry season. But that's in southern Africa. Up in East Africa, they can also nest year round, but generally also kind of coinciding with the dry season. What do we have? Yeah, some interesting birds calling. Nice big male, dark male giraffe just in the background there, also coming to visit. Maybe he's following the female giraffe, looking to see if any of these females are in estrus. Oh, looks like a nice big boy. He actually looks pretty familiar. I think we also saw this male the other day. Oh, we've got a few giraffe coming back for a drink. These are the Maasai giraffe, of course, primarily found in southern Kenya and Tanzania. They, to me, again, there's between 7 to 9 different giraffe species. I think scientists are always debating between if it's 7 or if it's 9. Um, to me, they all look pretty much exactly the same, except for the reticulated giraffe, which has much darker, broader, thicker spots. Of course, the Maasai giraffe have smaller spots and not as solid and not as rounded as I feel like the reticulated giraffe. They're more like blotchy and splattery. So more looks to me looks like a paint splotch. But again, if you have a look, I know some of the books, especially the Kingdom book, Kingdom Mammal book, it has very good illustration of the 7 different giraffe species. And again, they all look very similar. Only difference is kind of their patterns, which from one species to the next. Vaynans William, thank you for your comment. It is definitely a wonderful close up of these gentle giants. It's very special to be able to watch them drinking. Shame these poor giraffe here. I do feel like in Old Donyo they have a lot of oxpeckers because, yeah, these giraffe do get hassled quite a lot here in Old Donyo when they come down to drink at this watering hole. Oh, imagine having to stretch all that way down in order to have a drink. What a cool sighting. Definitely very impressive maintenance, how these giraffe drink. So it's incredible. That's why giraffe have a very big heart. So a heart of a giraffe can weigh anything between 8 to 10 kilograms. And that's because they need to have a large heart in order to pump the blood all the way up to their head, especially when they're drinking in moments like this. So it's very difficult for these giraffe to go all the way down here and drink. And that's probably why when we see them at watering holes, they're very skeptical, because it does put them in a bit of a vulnerable position when they're drinking like this. If there were any predators around, now would definitely be a good moment to take advantage of giraffe here. You can see it's a nice illustration and a good example of the difference between the male and female giraffes. You can see the female is on the right here. Her ossicones are a lot smaller in shape. Generally, I find the female ossicones can also be a little bit more curved inwards, and they're very fluffy on the top, as opposed to this big male. He's a lot more stocky, a lot taller. This male seems to have also a bit of a crooked neck that can sometimes be uh, caused by fighting. Males have very a lot thicker ossicones, often pointing outwards, like this male's ossicones. Normally, the male's ossicones are kind of void of any hair or fur, so they're sometimes a bit bald and a lot thicker than the females. And sometimes the males even have extra protrusions on their skulls. If you're ever in a reserve or kind of in a park and you're on safari and you have an opportunity to actually look at a giraffe skull, I would definitely take some time to kind of look at that skull. Those male giraffe have incredible skulls. You can see from all that fighting and kind of thrashing their heads about, definitely forms lots of very hard lumps on their heads. I think this is the same male that was here yesterday. He was also quite interested in some female giraffes. So these males will often follow a group of females, and the males will test to see which of these females are in season. Often, when a female giraffe is in estrus, she will kind of be excreting a bit of a pungent smell which will attract the attention of some males. But she'll generally wait for the biggest and strongest of all the males to come through before she allows a male to mate with her. So in the animal kingdom, it's all about genetics and picking a suitable partner with the strongest genes and strongest genetics. So these poor females sometimes have to endure days and days of kind of, yeah, turning down all the younger males. So while they wait for a bigger, suitable partner to come along, this male does look like quite an impressive specimen for a male giraffe. So maybe he might get lucky. Oof, this weather is definitely turning here. I can see the wind is probably picking up. Awesome sauce, folks. So we had some visual yesterday at Compass Dam of some pretty cool birds. So let's head back over there and see what birding we can find today. Awesome sauce. So, folks, yesterday we had quite a birding bonanza here at Compass Dam, and yeah, there were lots of different ibises. We had about actually 10. We had 10 different bird species here. One of the exciting ones was, of course, the greater flamingos. We've got two greater flamingos in the middle of the screen there. That's really exciting to see. I think yesterday we saw a small flock of between 5 to 7 individuals. That was a pretty exciting day. We haven't been able to access this camera for a while, so lovely to see some different birds and different waterfowl. So what we have here, we've got quite a few Egyptian geese. We have the red-knobbed coots. Yesterday we had quite a few whiskered terns and black, grey-headed gulls. I've got some black-winged stilts that I can see. And there's these two mystery birds here that I'm very skeptical of what they are. What are these guys? Hello. They're hiding their heads in their wings. It's definitely not a tern. Come on, guys, show us your faces. What are you? So again, this is an area, it's a wetland area where we do get a lot of bird life coming through. Obviously, very healthy population of fish. Gosh, what is this bird? This is a pied avocet, folks. How cool is that? This is actually a bird lifer for me. It's a bit difficult to identify them right now because they've got their heads buried in their feathers. It's probably a very cold, windy day. But what a cool sighting, folks. Pied avocet. Bird lifer for me for Wild Earth. How awesome. Wonder if we're going to see any more of those whiskered terns or grey-headed gulls. That would be epic. Seems like a lot of Egyptian geese as well. But yeah, yesterday, I think how many whiskered terns? We must have had at least over 50 or 60 whiskered terns that came in. They just kept flying in by the dozen. You can see those avocets' little eyes there popping out. Because they're still closed, it's difficult to see. They've got an interesting shaped bill, very long, thin black bill that kind of curves upwards. And another really epic wading bird that likes to occur in these open wetland areas. Also heard some black crakes yesterday, which is lovely, and I think I'll have a bit of a quiet moment and we can listen to all of this bird life. I think the red-knobbed coots were calling just now, so let's have a listen, see if we can identify any more bird species and listen to maybe if those white-faced whistling ducks will start calling as well. Alrighty, folks. I'm not hearing too much interesting birds calling, but there is an elephant pool party about to take place at Gowrie Dam. So why don't we head over there and then we can come back to our birds in a moment. Uh-oh. Where did our elephant disappear to? Alright, there is an elephant here having a pool party somewhere, or about to have a pool party. Where did he disappear? Do the live and take off. Oh, there we go. Whoa, that is looks like quite an impressive elephant bull, and he's decided that I think this is the perfect spot for him to come and have a nice afternoon chill. I must say I'm pretty jealous of this elephant bull. I could also use a bit of a splish splash and a swim right now. Oh, check at him go! He's completely submerged himself under the water. Isn't this crazy? So yesterday we were also watching some elephants at Tower Lodge, and we were just taking note that it's often the elephant bulls and the baby elephants that you see swimming. If you think about it, it's very rare to actually see elephant cows having a swim. So think about that. Think about the last time you've seen elephants swimming, or every time you've seen elephants swimming. Have you ever seen a cow, elephant cow, having a swim? Oh, this elephant bull is having the best time. Maybe he's practicing holding his breath underwater. I have to see how thick his tusks are. Let's see. Fuzzy Dunlop. Yes, this is lovely to see. It is a solo elephant pool party, but nonetheless, this elephant is still having an absolutely fabulous time. Come on, boy, show us those pearly white tusks of yours. I do love it when elephants swim. Isn't this delightful? They come out looking completely dark with those white tusks of theirs. Ooh. Oh, how cool is this? So, if you were not mistaken, you'd never think there's actually an elephant in that water. Isn't that crazy? So I actually do love watching elephants swim. Oh. So I do love watching elephants swim, but I also love elephants watching elephants crossing rivers. So when elephants cross a river, like a breeding herd, they'll often cross in a single file, and it is very cute how the little baby elephants clutch onto their mothers' tails, and that helps them from being swished away by the current. Because obviously, a little baby elephant, if they get taken away by the current, they could be at risk of being taken by a crocodile. So I think it's very cute how they kind of latch onto each other's tails in a single file, and you'll normally only see their backs and their trunks, their little snorkels coming up to breathe. If you didn't know that was an elephant, you'd think it was just a log floating around or sandbank floating around an island there. Imagine the heart attack you'd get if you were on a canoeing safari and all of a sudden this island or log started moving. It was actually elephant back. Oh gosh, I don't know what I would do. I think I would have a mild heart attack. Looks like we've got a little grebe or a dab chick here as well, giving his eye a little bit of a scratch. There's nothing better to do on a very hot Tuesday afternoon than go and have a swim. I think an ice cream and a swim. This is perfect weather. I'm sure Juma, I'm sure all of the camops and presenters at Juma would appreciate an ice cream and a swim on this hot Tuesday afternoon as well. I don't think this elephant would be too keen to have too much company in Gari Dam, though. Yes, I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking where Dewey is. I know he's been getting up to all kinds of nonsense, but I think the last time I heard or saw that he was seen was maybe at like Treehouse Dam, again playing with his ever so famous sticks in the water. Oh my goodness, Dewey is full of nonsense. So it looks like we've got some more elephants that are actually hanging out on the Olifants River. So maybe we'll also go and check those out, see if the elephants are going to cross the Olifants River, shall we? Awesome sauce. Check at this out. I was just talking about elephants crossing a river. I was expecting to see a little bit more water, but I guess water's better than no water at all. But it looks like these are probably just a few elephant balls also coming down to cool off after a very long hot day in the bush. So we did have a very good question that came through yesterday about elephants. That a question was, do you think elephants would still be as hot if they had fur? It was quite funny to think of elephants with fur, kind of like woolly mammoths. Um, so I think even if elephants had fur, that would still probably be grey and still probably be black, and I think it would actually probably make them even hotter. So elephants do have very fine hair-like particles, a tiny little, hair-like tentacle little hairs that grow off of their skin. Obviously, in baby elephants, it's a lot thicker. The older they get, they kind of lose. I don't see it as much, but they do have very fine little hairs that come off their body. A lot more hairs actually on their trunks, if you've ever seen an elephant's trunk closer up. And actually, quite interesting enough, on their little chinny chin chin, they have little whiskers and very fine hairs going into their ear canals and just the little hole on the outer side of the ears. They do have very fine hairs, but I think elephants would probably suffer in the heat if they had fur. Um, Talking about mammoths, quite interesting how last year there was a specimen of a baby woolly mammoth that was actually discovered. I think it was in the US on a mine, and it's actually one of the most intact specimens of a little baby woolly mammoth because it was obviously found in a mine and it was in a kind of very an area that the ice had melted, and it's one of the best specimens of a woolly mammoth that's ever been found. So it's kind of really helping with scientific research on these mammoths in leaps and bounds. Who knows? Maybe one day AI will help us to recreate some mammoths. We'll have mammoths walking in Iceland again. I wonder. That would be very unusual. But I think with global warming, I still think there's a reason that all things go extinct. So I probably think they wouldn't last too long. They'd probably have to be substitute fed. So yeah, but really interesting to dive into the history of elephants and think about what elephants would look like if they were fluffy. So Vanans Williams, it is a very lovely scene. Check out these elephants playing. So I do love how these elephant bulls become very adolescent and juvenile in their mannerisms and behavior once they get into the water, and they literally play in the water like little children. It is very entertaining to watch. So obviously, with those big bellies and big stomachs of theirs, elephants are actually very good at swimming. You wouldn't think so, weighing in at a couple of tons. Some big elephant bulls can weigh between 5 to 6 tons. So not all people think elephants are very good at swimming, but they are actually very good swimmers, elephants. Spasienkov, thank you for joining us today. I hope that you managed to catch up on the incredible birding we had yesterday. We got some really cool birds at Campus Dam. We had nice to see Juma and Gari Dam, and we had another swimming elephant that was also having a lovely pool party over in Gari Dam, just like these elephant bulls. Oh, that moment of relief when you jump into the swimming pool and just cool off. Oh, we got some hippos. Have a look here. There's looks like at least two, or possibly no, we could have three hippos kind of on the bank there, with all the waters coming down and floodplains filling with water. It's amazing how you get a lot of movement of all these animals, especially hippos that have been restricted. They finally have more space. So Ari, yes, we are on to our second elephant pool party for the day. So you can see as temperatures rise, elephants will be enjoying the nice cool water in all the pans and dams, rivers and lakes at all of our locations. Ah, there we go. Yep, at least three hippos. So apparently at Gari Dam, the jury has been at the dam recently, and there have been two other individuals, another youngster, and another could be a female and a youngster that have been hanging out with jury at Gari Dam. I haven't seen them recently, but it doesn't mean they're not there. Gari is very full at the moment, so could possibly just be hiding out somewhere. Check out this elephant. He's doesn't seem too keen to join in with this pool party. He's like, I want to go on the other side of the dam, this river. Apparently, he thinks the grass is greener, while these two other elephants just have a great time. That Western, these elephants really are magnificent, and it is, yeah, kind of touches your heart and soul to just watch them being so playful with one another. I find that water tends to have a very calming effect on animals. It's not just people. I think there's quite a lot of research that's been done behind the fact that running water, has a very calming and soothing effect on humans, but also on wild animals. I've experienced this multiple times with elephants, savanna elephants, forest elephants, where you cannot believe how relaxed and calm they are near the water. You see the same individuals further away from the water, and sometimes they just want to kill you. And then a few hours later, you find the same individual on the river or near a river, near water, and they're completely calm and relaxed. So I very much support the fact animals can be very different in their behavior if they're in a relaxed state or in a place that they feel relaxed and feel calm, they don't feel any threats. Check out these guys go. So a few more hippos popping up there. So I've got 4 hippos now. Could be 5. Got a good question here from Spasienkov is asking about how many hippos live here in the Olifants River. So I'm not sure on the exact population, Spasienkov, but I do know that yeah, the most hippos I've seen in this particular part of the river, um, it's probably about 8 to 10 hippos. The population of hippos along this Olifants River is quite a healthy population, which flows from South Africa and Mozambique. So varying, kind of varies and depends on different stretches of the river as it narrows and thickens out. So yeah, with all this rain coming down, the populations do disperse into different parts of the river, and as the dry season approaches and water levels drop, obviously this is when, yeah, hippo deaths can be imminent with the dry season approaching and less water being available. Sometimes bulls can get in fights and kill one another. It's all fortunately, part of the cycle of life. So those young hippo bulls out there do have to be quite wary and aware of the area that they're living in, and stay out of any other bigger hippo bulls territories, because yeah, fight for space to live in the hippo world during the dry season can be quite difficult for the hippo populations when the water levels are depleting. So the hippo populations do seem to be doing pretty well at the moment in the Olifants River area, as well as in the Kruger National Park. So habitat seems to be perfect for them, and I'd probably guess there's several hundred hippos within these two regions. So it is a very healthy population. Of course, it is affected by the availability of habitat, the water levels, and amazingly enough, human activity. So, human activity, including agriculture and damming, are a few factors that can influence hippo populations within an area. Um, This kind of can cause degradation of the soil and water pollution, which yeah, would then affect the hippo population. But luckily, the population seems to be doing very well. We're seeing lots of baby hippos around, so that's always a very good sign. These elephant bulls are just having such a great time. You see the third bull, he's out of here. He decided, I'm not waiting for these two. They're going to get up to nonsense. And yeah, so this interaction and bond very important in elephants. It's very important to get their social interaction time with one another. It does also help to build their cognitive skills and prepare them for bigger fights in the future. So, Spas Inkov, thank you for your question about what is the difference between forest elephants and savanna elephants in comparison to each other. So, obviously, habitat is the big one. Savanna elephants do not occur in the West African region. So, savanna elephants are not occurring within the forest, although hybrids have been recorded. But yeah, habitat will be a big one. Obviously, the distribution where they occur in. The size, savanna elephants are a lot bigger than forest elephants. So, forest elephants are almost half the size. Most forest elephants are weighing between 3 to 4 tons, whereas a big savanna elephant can weigh anything between about 7 to 8 tons. Big bulls. The ears as well. So forest elephants tend to not have as big ears as savanna elephants. For me, the eyes are always a big one. Forest elephants' eyes, because they have adapted to becoming very nocturnal species due to over poaching. Um, their eye color in a lot of forest elephants to me has changed, and they do have these very intriguing yet petrifying eyes, should I say. I've seen colors from yellow to you even get white. Yeah, but like very deep yellow, orange colored eyes. And in some cases, I've even seen a few forest elephants with white eyes. And then, of course, the big one is tusks. The tusks of forest elephants, because they spend so much time in thick forests and digging up vegetation with their tusks. Those tannins of the forest often tend to stain their tusks. The forest elephants are known to have very long, thin tusks and can often be very stained in like a very, yeah, tanniny kind of brown color. So it's just a few of the differences between these two elephant species. Check out those elephants. They've completely disappeared into the bank there. It looks like another lovely hot sunny day in the Olifants area. I don't think they're going to be receiving rainfall anytime soon, unlike Kenya. Aldonio looked like they were probably going to be getting some rain at our pan shortly. So it's incredible if you see how these elephants are so well adapted. They can climb up ridges and banks, and I've actually seen areas where elephants have pathways going up mountains. Um, and it's quite interesting actually. I know of quite a few people that have actually used elephants. A lot of people building roads in very remote areas will actually use elephant pathways to go from one area to the next, because elephants will always pick the most flat and kind of stable route to get to their destination. Check how he got out of that. Oh, no, he's still standing on the edge of the bank there. And in some cases, I've even seen elephants using elephant slides, so they want to get from one area to the next. I've actually seen a place where we've caught on camera traps elephants actually sitting down on their bottoms and sliding down a huge bank. Obviously, these are used for generations and generations. This elephant I know of in Zimbabwe was probably used for over 10 to 15 years, so it was quite well smoothed out by many elephants sliding down the mountain. So Tyden Blash, thank you for your question. So Tyden is asking, how does a fenced reserve keep animals in when a river runs through it? So yeah, it's a very interesting question. This elephant has just slipped all the way back into the water. So often, yeah, it is a little bit of a tricky one. Sometimes some reserves, yeah, will have kind of traversing agreement where they will allow animals to traverse from one reserve to the next. But in a lot of cases, you do actually get fences that go through rivers and over rivers in order to separate the animals from passing from one area to the next. But a lot of animals, like elephants, don't have much respect for fences. They enjoy breaking out, and I don't know, elephants have this rule of thumb. They never, if they break out and come back into a reserve, they'll never use the same hole. They'll always break out and come back into a different place. So they like to break the fence many times as possible. I think they just want to make sure that the reserve teams have a lot of work. In Victoria Falls, if you're driving through the residential areas, you'll often see a lot of the walls around people's houses have a lot of patch jobs from the elephants, often breaking in two or three different places to get in and get out, possibly to look for some fruit. On the fruiting trees, especially mangoes. They love mangoes, oranges. Elephants cannot resist oranges. They do love to raid bananas as well as papayas, and of course any melons. Oof, they love melons, elephants. Look at these elephants go. It's lovely to see these overhanging fig trees. So, oh, I love riverbeds like this in the green season, but also in the dry season. If you're looking for a nice cool spot to rest, sometimes these riverbeds, even if they don't have water, are perfect. They've got that nice, almost ocean river sand. Just take a nice kakoi, find yourself a little shady spot amongst the rocks in the sand, and have a very nice afternoon nap. Sarah, thank you for your question, Sarah. So Sarah's asking, would elephants avoid a dam with high currents? Uh, Sarah, I would say most probably. The cases that I've seen elephants crossing rivers with very strong currents, like on the Zambezi River, um, is maybe in times of drought or when there's very little food. So the elephants will actually cross the river to get to the islands so they can feed on that nice lush vegetation, maybe feed on some ilala palms or the wild date palms for a few days, get their full of food and then go back to the mainland. Or, yeah, elephants often cross from Zimbabwe to Zambia throughout the year, generally in the season where there's low water. Um, but yeah, I have seen elephants crossing very hectic currents before. I think breeding herds will generally tend to avoid high currents because of the babies and try to find areas that might be more frequently used crossing areas that they know are not too deep and also safe to cross because they're a lot more shallow than other areas. So I don't think an elephant would go into a dam with very strong currents unless there was maybe a lot of food or vegetation on the other side for them to cross and feed at. These elephant balls are really having such a magnificent time here today. These are three bachelor balls. You can see them getting onto their haunches to get out of this riverbed here. It's incredible those feet of the elephant. So when they actually step down, they have these massive feet that help them very good with balance. I've never seen an elephant slipping and falling. So they're very lucky they've got those feet that have a very thick pad, lots of cushion, and almost yeah, so it really helps them to splay their feet out and get a very good grip on the surface there. So yeah, it's very rare to actually see an elephant slipping and falling. unless they're playing in the water, having a mud fight. There's some crocodiles. I wonder if there's any crocodiles on the banks here. With all this water coming down, I'm sure there might be some big crocodiles lurking in these muddy waters. So never just jump into a river or a dam. You never know what dangerous creatures are lurking below. Could be a huge crocodile anywhere here, waiting for something to cross, waiting for an easy meal. Let's see if our hippos are still around. I don't think the grass is really green around that side of the river, but apparently the elephants think so. This river here on this area looks like a perfect place for crocodiles to nest. So crocodiles do like to have these nice white sandy sandbanks. That's where they'll kind of lay their eggs. So generally the nesting time for crocodiles is in September. That's generally when the females nest. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head back across to Tembe and see what's happening at Tembe Elephant Park this afternoon. Oh, we have got some nice big elephant balls here at Tembe Elephant Park, looking like they're coming to enjoy the shade from these acacia trees. Still got a few impala hanging around here. There's a few impala ewes or female impala here yesterday. Lovely to see some nice sunshine in Tembe. Looks like they're also having some quite warm weather. And I always love to see these tuskers in Tembe Elephant Park. I seem to really enjoy this spot underneath this shady tree here. Nice soft sand, so they often will dust themselves. So it's a good way to cool themselves down, as well as swimming, of course. Maybe these elephant bulls have already had a bit of a swim. Now they're just using the sand to cool themselves down. Look at those tusks. So we're talking about elephant identification and how you use the tusk formations to ID them. So you can see this elephant bull. Obviously, if I was doing an ID kit for him, you would definitely indicate that this right-hand tusk is a lot lower than the left-hand tusk. Also looks a little bit shorter. Could have been broken at some stage. And then those ears are always a good giveaway for some identifying features. I wonder if we've still got our woolly neck stalks around. And all impala seem to be hiding in the shade of the tree. Ah, there we go. I was kind of getting a bit worried why there are only a few impala around. So nice to see the rest of the herd is still here, grazing these nice open areas. And this fresh green lush grass. I'm gonna scan to see if maybe there's any other birds around, any nyala coming down for a drink. And there's a wallowing hole that the elephants seem to be preferring on the right there. For some reason, they really enjoy that muddy water. A hardy dar announcing his presence. looks like we've got some swallows that are coming down, having a bit of a drink from the water. It's quite interesting how these swallows actually drink. So they swoop over the water and yeah, actually drink in flight. So amazing how some birds, some swallows, don't actually touch the ground for quite a long period of time. They spend a lot of time swooping over the water and perched on trees, but they actually very rarely come down to the ground. Unlike your lesser striped swallows that will come down to collect mud for their nests, they normally build their nests, or they love to build their nests in buildings. Um, Otherwise, kind of in palm trees. Some swifts will nest in palm trees. It's amazing how they balance their eggs on those palm trees there. Look at these giant elephants here. Oh, that second bull has such impressive tusks. So we've got a question from Hans. So Hans is asking about elephants and if elephants change their home ranges. So yes, Hans. So elephants can actually change their home ranges. Generally, it depends on several factors, which normally include obviously like availability of food and water, social dynamics. If the young bulls get chased out of an area, obviously they'll have to find a new home range. Environmental changes can also affect the movement patterns of elephants. Obviously, they'll be trying to follow areas where there's food or where there's been more rain, as well as human activity. So elephants can be disturbed and move out of an area because there might be too much human activity. So yeah, there's quite a few factors that will influence this, but it's incredible to see what some of the distances that elephants can travel. This elephant is resting his trunk on his tusk. It's quite unusual that these elephants really love this mud wallow so much. I mean, there's so much water down by the dam, but sometimes I guess they're not having a swim. They also like to coat their skin in this very thick mud. It helps to act as a bit of a insect repellent as well as a bit of a sun block or sun protection. It's incredible how elephants can travel hundreds and thousands of kilometers in a lifespan. So, within a day, the average elephant, I'd probably say, can travel between 10 to 40 kilometers. In some cases, I know some elephants have been recorded to travel up to 60, 65 kilometers in a day, or about 6 to 20 miles. But in an average elephant's lifespan, they can travel hundreds of thousands of kilometers. An estimated elephant traveling distance in their lifespan can be anything between 200 to 230,000 kilometers within their lifespan, which is quite a distance. I know some of these elephants that have got tracking collars on have been recorded to have traveled through at least 3 or 4 countries within a couple of weeks. So it's incredible how they can move for such long distances. Look at these elephant boys having a nice mud bath. So Mindy, thank you for your question. So Mindy is asking, what should one look for when trying to determine whether a termite mound is active or non-active? So interesting that you asked that, Mindy, because obviously with the rainy season approaching, you can tell. So these termites, they're so close to the ground. A lot of their mounds are actually in the ground and underground. You can actually They can feel the seismic activity when a storm is approaching, and that's when they'll become very active termites just before a storm. They'll actually be building their nests quite a lot, mounds quite a lot. So active termite mounds, especially just before the rains, you'll see a lot of fresh building on the sides or on the top. They'll be closing their holes and preparing their mound for the rain so that they don't get washed away. But yeah, so generally the same throughout the year. So mounds that are active, you'll see them when they have damage, they'll be rebuilt, whereas inactive mounds can sustain a lot of damage and they might not be rebuilt, which means the colony could have moved on, or in some cases, if they are excavated by your aardvark or your pangolin, that's when, again, if the queen is killed, then the colony will generally disintegrate, or could have been completely wiped out by a predator. So it's generally a good way to tell if a mound is inactive, if it's got any big holes in the side, and if there's been no maintenance done. It's so lovely being able to watch these incredible elephants going about their day. So much rain at the moment, so we had a really epic sighting yesterday of some elephants at Tower Lodge, with some very beautiful yellow flowers, could have been some yellow daisies, and some zebra, blue skies. It was really a beautiful, picturesque setting. So Spas Inkov, interesting that you ask about elephants and termite mounds. So I've actually seen on quite a few occasions elephants. So one, elephants will use termite mounds when they're having a nap, so especially big bulls. They will lie up against a giant termite mound and kind of use that mound as a leverage for them to get up, because for a big elephant bull it can be quite difficult to get up after you've been lying down for quite some time on your side. um, looks quite unattractive, I must say. They look very, yeah, they look quite unusual, elephants lying down trying to get up. So they use it as a leverage. But I've also seen elephants breaking termite mounds, and they get that fresh soil to actually throw onto their back. So a lot of the times, especially in the dry season, there's not much moisture around. Obviously, in the termite mounds, you get a lot of moist soil, and they'll actually destroy the mound. And I've actually seen them throwing that soil onto their backs, and in some cases, even lying on the mound and breaking the termite mound. So, unfortunately, this does make quite a lot of work for the poor termites. What is this elephant bull doing? It looks like he's giving himself a bit of a scratch. Impala hasn't moved at all. Oh, yep, he's obviously very itchy on his neck. So, unlike us humans, that we have hands, we can give ourselves a good scratch when we're itchy. Look at those round feet of those elephants. It's very difficult for them to scratch themselves, and their trunk can't always reach all the parts of their body. So, often elephants will use trees to rub and scratch themselves to relieve an itch. And yeah, in some cases, you find these trees are completely smooth from many, many years of elephants rubbing themselves on the trees. This does look like a nice resting spot for some elephants. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the dry season, a breeding herd of elephants gathered around this tree. Babies will often be sleeping or resting in the middle. I got a little baby impala just in between these palm trees here. How cute is that? It's probably less than a month old, that impala. It was a bit worrying this year in some areas of Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. I know the lambing time for the impala was quite late. Some impala were only giving birth just before Christmas or just after Christmas. Yeah, while waiting for some proper rains to arrive. And it's really lovely this time of year with all the baby impala. Find a lot of nurseries with little ones running around and playing during the day. So it looks like mostly females. Generally, you have one male in a herd like this. He's probably hanging around somewhere. Khan G, thank you for watching this afternoon with us from Qatar. I'm sure this scenery is a bit different to what you're used to in Qatar. So I hope you're enjoying seeing all of this wildlife. Then the wind picked up all of a sudden, and that little baby impala got such a fright, jumped out from behind the bushes there, thought he was under attack. And looks like our two big elephant balls are having to share their rubbing post. Trying to have a look at this elephant ball. Looks like he could have a floppy ear. We do have a floppy-eared elephant ball that does come down to this watering hole quite often. Not too sure if this is the same one. What are these elephants up to? So obviously this other ball has pushed the ball on the right away from this rubbing tree, and that is a perfect rubbing post. Check, you can get behind the ears, scratch that head. Have a good old scratch there, this ball. Looks like he could be in musk a little bit. He's got a bit of liquid being excreted from his temporal glands, which does mean he's in the musk or higher levels of testosterone. Cool, folks. Well, why don't we head back across to Campus Dam? I saw some very interesting birds there that I'd love to identify. Let's go see what's happening over in Kimberley. Alrighty, folks. So, we've got four flamingos now. So, four greater flamingos in this beautiful wetland area. A lot of these red-knobbed coots. Got our two pied avocets down in the center of the screen here, which are really awesome to see. I hope that they take their heads out of their wings. They had their heads tucked behind their wings earlier, so we couldn't see them too well. But I'd love to know a lot of our viewers. This is a bird lifer for me for Wild Earth. Obviously, I can't record it anywhere, but it's in my mental Wild Earth bird list. But yeah, pretty epic bird, pied avocet. And then if we have a scan now, there were some different birds, which might be new birds to me too. I'm not sure what they could be. Whoop. Giraffe is having that flamingo stretching his leg out. I do love flamingos. How beautiful are those flamingos? There we go. You can see these three flamingos on the right hand side. a lot more pink in color. So yeah, they've obviously been from a coastal region, been feeding on a lot of crustaceans with a lot of that pink pigment. And this one on the left could either be a juvenile or maybe he's come in from areas that are not coastal regions. So quite interesting how flamingos feather color can actually change by their diet. But I'm suspecting this could actually be a juvenile on the left here. We see his legs are not pink yet. Oh, what pretty birds. Of course, we have some black winged stilts here as well. So, Erica Oldno from Cape Town, thanks for sending through the information or your comment about the people of the forest in Congo. So, they are known as the Bayaka people or the people of the forest. They used to be referred to as the pygmies of the forest. But yeah, it's actually illegal to use that word now in Congo. So they are known as the forest people of West Africa, or the Bayaka people, and they use a lot of plants in the forest medicinally. And yeah, I had my piece of sap or my fire forest candle, which is a piece of solidified sap that I did demonstrate at when we were at Mabula to show our viewers how this candle is used to create fires in the forest for hunters or hunter gatherers, as well as in churches. So I'll probably take it back with me to Mabula. It's quite a cool demonstration, really lovely smell, good incense, good aroma, good vibes. It smells like eucalyptus burning. So yeah, a lot of very interesting documentaries that you can watch of these people that live in the forest of West Africa. Let's look at these red-knobbed coots. You can see this is actually how they're feeding. So they dip their heads down underwater, bottoms up in the sky, and yeah, that's how they feed underwater. Um, yeah, so many red-knobbed coots here. Oh my goodness. So yesterday we had a lot of had the sacred ibis, so the black and white sacred ibis. There's probably at least 10 or 15. And then we also had tons of glossy ibis. Must have been more than 40, 50 glossy ibis here yesterday, which they seem to have taken off somewhere. So yeah, today I guess the red-knobbed coots are the star of the show. So if you've never seen a red-knobbed coot's feet, I would definitely recommend Googling red-knobbed coot foot. They have a very interesting foot structure, and that's what helps them. They're very aquatic birds and really helps them while swimming and being in the water. Cool. So we're having a look down here. I think down in this area where the blacksmiths are, there's some small little grey birds just on the water's edge. Oh, so saw a grey-headed gull there. So many birds. This is like a birder's paradise. Oh, what on earth? Egyptian geese, all of those. What? Oh, wow. Have a look, folks. Isn't that cool? All right. Awesome. So yesterday, they're still here. So we've got all of our white-faced whistling ducks. Still got our glossy ibises. They're still hanging around. So must mean there's perfect, lots of food. We do have a Cape crow, a pied crow, sorry. Looks like he's feeding on something, some poor little creature. Yeah, isn't that an incredible sight? So pretty much can see all the birds we saw yesterday, as well as the pied avocet. That's a really cool bird lifer. So in this area, we've got seen the Egyptian geese, we've got the blacksmith lapwings, we've got the white-faced whistling ducks in here, lots of juveniles too. The majority of these birds that have a very beautiful purple sheen at the moment with the sun, these are glossy ibises. So that's 4 bird species. I saw, oh, there's our little black crake. Just also had the pied avocet. We had a pied crow, red-knobbed coot, flamingos. What else did we have? Oh, black-winged stilt. So again, we've got 10 different aquatic waterfowl species all in this wetland. So it must be a very good indicator that it's a very healthy environment. There's a lot of larvae, a lot of baby fish, a lot of plant material for all these waterfowl to feed on. How incredible. They all look like they're having a good swim, a good splash, a good clean. What an epic sighting. So I'm going to have a bit of a quiet moment to listen and hear what other birds are out there. Yesterday we had the whiskered terns. Oh, we have had the grey-headed gull. So that's number 11, the grey-headed gull. Let's have a bit of a listen to see if we can hear any other birds calling out there in this incredible wetland area in Compass Dam, Kimberley. I'm hoping to find another duck species. We've only got the one duck species here. White-faced whistling ducks. Of course, the Egyptian geese. I'm dying to see just another species. Got 11 waterfowl. Oh, there we go. Got the shelled ducks. Yes. How awesome is that? So we've got 3 shelled ducks there. So that's coming in number 12. So 12 waterfowls all in a small area. I'm sure before we linked across to our swimming elephants, I also saw possibly some sandpipers, maybe a green shank. We'll keep our eyes peeled, keep our eyes open. Obviously, it's very salty water. You can see the salty water here. So coming in from it's a red-knobbed coot calling there. Seems to be grooming time. All the water birds seem to be having a good groom at the moment. I am blown away by how many water birds are here. If I was in this... Oh, here we go. What do we have there? What do we have? I don't... There are definitely terns. I don't know if they're whiskered terns. Oh, there we go. Is this a sandpiper or green shank? What is that? Any of our viewers want to help on the ID of some of these birds here? Oh, there we go. What terns are these? I don't know if they're whiskered terns, but they're definitely terns of some sort. Let's have a quick search. Black-winged stilt. Oh, there's another. Is this what? Is that a spoonbill? Oh no, it's a cattle egret. So coming in at number 12 on our list, we have a cattle egret, and he's actually in breeding plumage. Have a look at that guy. Isn't he charming? Beautiful breeding colorations. You can see it's a bit more yellow, so a bit yellow on his head there, and his head and the back of his wings. Definitely some terns. What tern are these terns? They had a black cap on the head. Whiskered terns normally have a bit of a stripe on the top of their head. Could be the sooty tern. Let's just have a look if the habitat is correct. Oh no, definitely not a sooty tern. If we have any of our viewers that might have an idea which tern. No, sorry folks, I think it's still the whiskered terns. It's still cool to see them. Check folks, here's our pied avocets. Look at those bills. Isn't that crazy? This is my first time seeing a pied avocet with those incredible long bills of theirs. How cool. What cool looking little birds. So it is quite a striking bird with its unmistakable, elegantly shaped body. It's got pied plumage, black and white plumage, that long blackish grey legs, and of course their very slender, upcurving bill. So The curve is a lot more prominent in females, and they're usually in small breeding colonies. And I've actually got a call here of these pied avocets. So let me play the call for you. And actually, some of our viewers today might even know this pied avocet. So they do occur in Netherlands, Japan, Spain, and Russia. So they are actually a migratory bird. Let me play the call for you here. So some epic bird lifers today, and those flamingos always bring a smile to my face. How awesome. Check out those flamingos. I wish I could nap like that. Wouldn't that be cool? So Erica Oldno, I'm not too sure what the species of bushes are growing close to this dam, but there was some bulrushes. There were some bulrushes on the far side, so very thick green vegetation, which again, I was praying we might get some red bishops nesting there. So these are our whiskered terns. So you've got a juvenile on the right-hand side here, the red bill. I was hoping maybe it was a different bird species, but it looks just like our whiskered terns. It's still pretty epic, pretty cool to see them so close by. So Mindy is asking a question about, are there other creatures besides flamingos whose look is affected by what they eat? So yes, Mindy, a lot of I know mostly of bird species, and yes, to some extent, some animals in some regions, their coats and feathers could be affected by the foods that they eat. But I think it's most primarily, obviously, in birds and also actually in some amphibians as well. I do know some frogs in some regions that, depending on the algae that they feed on, could affect their coloration. So but flamingos is a very unusual one because there's not many birds that are affected by what they eat. But flamingos, because they have such a white pigment to their feathers, and because of that high pigment coloration, oh, check out these folks. They've got lovely thick bulrushes here. So this looks like some sort of reeded vegetational bulrushes that is a perfect nesting ground for all kinds of birds. So this is a birder's paradise. Oh, coming at number 12, folks, on our list for today, we have got some common moorhens. So this thick green vegetation is perfect habitat for common moorhens to nest, as well as black crakes, the bishops, is it the southern golden crowned bishop as well? No, that was the bird of the day while I was at Mabulla on one of the days there. So that was pretty epic to try to look for that golden bishop. Would be perfect habitat. A lot of these other bushes we're seeing here could be small acacia trees as well. Like a perfect hangout spot for maybe some other interesting birds like maybe our korhans on that dry area there. What else do we have? Trying to look to see if there's any other birds. What else is out there? Wow, to our Zumi here at Campus Dam, thank you for being so cooperative and helping us with our birding today. Your Zumi skills have been incredible. So Vinans Williams. So a lot of these birds, so a lot of egrets and herons will actually roost and nest up in trees. The ducks, so ducks, I know like Egyptian geese will often yeah, roost. They might make their nest, so they might go and sleep up in the nest that they make up in trees too. But a lot of the water birds will actually just sleep in the water. I know the knob-billed ducks recently. I was at a location where the knob-billed ducks they didn't move much. Pretty much the same place that you saw them in the afternoon. You'd see them in the morning. It was quite interesting. December, January is actually the mating season for knob-billed ducks. A lot of territorial displaying. So I know at Juma they had some really awesome footage on one of the sunset safaris or sunrise. I think it was a sunrise safari where they saw the knob-billed ducks actually fighting. And one of the camps I was working in December, every morning for about half an hour to 45 minutes, you'd have these knob-billed ducks slapping each other with their wings and causing quite a ruckus. Yes, it's just that time of the year. Lady Macbeth, shame. I do feel sorry for that poor little cattle egret. He definitely is wearing his best bib or best frock to try and attract the ladies or another female um, cattle egret, but doesn't look like he has many other females in this area. Yeah, all those ducks splashing about. Alrighty, folks, we've got quite a bit of good birding in here, so why don't we go check out Rosie's pan and see what we can find at Rosie's pan. Oh, hello. Fancy seeing these buffalo here. Looks like we've got two female buffalo or buffalo cows hanging out at Rosie's pan. This is actually the same pan that I saw my wattled starling last year. Must have been in November. We'll keep a lookout for that wattled starling, but these buffalo obviously enjoying a nice afternoon at the watering hole. I'm kind of done with this nonsense and all this heat. Decided to take refuge in this beautiful, cool pan. It's quite strange to see two buffalo cows by themselves. I'm wondering if the rest of the herd isn't close by. Must be somewhere close by. So it is more common to see buffalo bulls on their own. Buffalo cows, generally, if you find one, there'll always be more. So buffalo cows can be in a herd of anything between 10 to hundreds of individuals within one breeding herd. And you can see this is definitely a cow because her boss is very small, her horn shape is very narrow, very thin. Um, so I'm wondering if the rest of the breeding herd is somewhere close by, or in some cases, some buffalo cows might be left behind by the herd if they have become old and unable to keep up with the herd, become a bit of a threat. A vulnerable, weak link in their family group, which could attract predators. So, in that case, they might also be left behind. They don't look like they're in terrible condition, but I'm not seeing the rest of the herd. Where has the rest of the herd gone to? Grace, yes, it is lovely to see these bathing buffaloes. I'm sure all of us here in southern Africa would like to be having a mud wallow like these buffaloes and elephants have been today. It's quite interesting. This female buffalo actually looks, her horns really resemble that of a water buffalo. So I know a lot of our tourists that come through from America often mistaken our Cape buffalo with the um, water buffalo, but we do not actually get water buffalo in Africa. But they are very similar to one another, although very different and occur in different continents. But the Cape buffalo here in Africa is one of the big five, very famously known for being very aggressive, and they do kill a lot of people in Africa every year, um, from guides to hunters, to people walking around in the bush that probably shouldn't be walking around in the bush. So yeah, they call them the ghosts of the night. Yeah, those big buffalo bulls, you do not want to get on the wrong side of a buffalo bull. I tell you that much. What are you looking at, girl? Where's the rest of your family? Hmm. a shame. You can see she is a little bit older. She's a little bit ribby, but she's still not in too bad condition. I would still guess that she's probably still with the rest of, should still be with the rest of her herd. But yeah, sometimes the dry seasons can be very hard on these older individuals. That the older these big mammals in the bush get, the more difficult it is to survive those long dry seasons. Yeah, all the walking in very hot weather during those very long hot days from one pan to the next to the other, trying to find food can be quite a strain on their bodies. Um, could be why these two female buffaloes have fallen behind. Shame. Hope she's not sick. She could be sickly as well, but if there's at least there's two of them, which makes them less susceptible to predators. Of course, any animal in the bush you do not want to be on your own because that makes you vulnerable to being attacked by predators. Um, so your antelope mammal species, they seek refuge and find comfort and safety in large numbers. So find a herd of buffalo, a herd of harem of zebra, or herd of impala. If they get attacked by, chased, or hunted by any predator, you'll generally see them all huddling together. It's a bit more intimidating to the predators and difficult to isolate an individual if they're all together. Whereas these two buffalo cows are quite vulnerable on their own, but we'll hope that the rest of their herd is close by. Alrighty, folks, why don't we head over to Cat Eye Pan and see what else is happening out there today? Oh, goodness. Hello, we have a herd of elephants. That is a very big elephant cow there, I must say. Shucks. It's a very good angle, too. Nice to see them from a bit of a different angle, these elephants. It gives you a bit of idea of their massive size. Tell you, when you watch elephants on TV, you don't think they're quite as big as they are until you actually see them up in person. Then they become a little bit more daunting. And we've got a sub-adult there, looks like a little youngster. Talking about the size of an elephant, so often you find with males, a big male elephant at shoulder height can be about 2 to 3 meters, and that's just at shoulder height. If they lift up their head, they definitely look a lot bigger. And the females are generally between 1 to 1.5 meters. Yeah, big male elephant can, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, between 4,000 to 6,000 kilograms. Is that incredible? Massive, colossal size and weight of these very large land mammals. And just to give you a size comparison, earlier we were talking about forest elephants. So forest elephants, I mentioned, are half the size. So about a big male is hitting about 1 to 2 meters at shoulder height, and about a female, you're looking at under 1 meter to 1.5 meters. And the weight of a big forest elephant male can be between 2 to 3,000 kilograms. So it's almost half of the size there. Let's see what else is at this pan. Anything lurking? I think it would be perfect time for a slender mongoose to come down for a drink. Often early afternoon. If you're staking out at a pan, you can expect to see some guinea fowl, some francolin coming in the early afternoons. As it gets closer to sunset, those baboons start rolling in, ridding you of your peace and quiet and causing as much mischief and mayhem as they possibly can. I know there's lots of terrapins at this little pan. Let's see if there's any terrapins in this water, shall we? Hmm. Oh, a lot of nice sedge vegetation here. So perfect little habitats for some little insects. Nice place for dragonflies to kind of have their larvae. Often have larval little cocoons around these thick sedge plants. Alrighty, folks. Doesn't look like we have too much else happening at this pan here at Cat's Pan in Olifants. Why don't we head across to Stony Point for last few minutes of the show and see what else is waiting for us? Oh, hello, hello, hello. We've got a little Hyrax. How cute is that? So, when was it? A few weeks ago? No, probably, yeah, end of December. There was a Hyrax, female Hyrax with two little ones. Very cute little, oh, no, actually three little pups. So, baby Hyraxes are known as pups. Female Hyrax can have anything between 3 to 4 pups at one time. It's actually quite interesting. Hyraxes actually have three sets of mammae. They've actually got that's two, four, six individual mammary glands, or three sets, and that's in order to be able to feed as many pups as they can at one time. What are you up to? The perfect life of a Hyrax, hanging out in a little rocky spot. I don't think I could live as a Hyrax though. I don't know. As you can see, she's in a pile of probably her own and many of her family members' feces. And that smell of Hyrax urine and feces is quite pungent. Got very specially adapted eyebrows. So it's quite a good view from here. You can see they've got ridges, these eyebrow ridges, specially adapted to keep the sun out of their eyes. Also, specially modified teeth so that they can feed for very, very quickly. So obviously, hyraxes are quite sought after, not just by humans, but also by birds of prey, servals, caracal would love to, and leopard love to munch on a little hyrax. So they need to be able to feed quite quickly when they go down from their perching spot. That's why they have these very sharp teeth, um, almost like rodentia shaped teeth. They can feed very quickly. Oh, cool. Having a look around to see maybe we have some more hyrax somewhere close by. What a beautiful view that is. Hello, Cape Town. I know we've got some viewers watching from Cape Town today. So I know this view must be very common to you, but for the rest of us in the world, this is definitely a very lovely view. There's mountains in Cape Town, sunshine, oceans, and waves. Got some Cape cormorants here as well. So lovely to see the cormorants have come in from their fishing escapades and resting up on the rocks. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll see some penguins, um, yeah, or a seal. I'd love to see a seal. Hello, guys. See, they're probably coming from their little fishing missions. They'll go very specially designed for ducking and diving under the water and searching for small fish. And then they'll come up after a few hours of fishing, sit up on the rocks and enjoy the sunshine. I know I know a lot of men that would love to have a life like a cormorant. Imagine just fishing every single day, chilling on the rocks when you get tired, and going back to fish again. What a lovely life. What a lovely view. Any seals, any penguins, anything else out there? Just cormorants. Lots and lots of cormorants. Also having a bit of a swim. Whoop, and see this island is completely covered in cormorants. So mostly the Cape cormorants here. I'm looking for the greater cormorant or white-bellied cormorant would be called. But these look most like Cape cormorants. Also having a lovely afternoon swimming. Love to be in the ocean right now. I don't know if any of our other viewers would like to be in Cape Town enjoying the ocean, although the ocean is very cold in Cape Town, but on a hot day like this, I surely would dive into that water. What are they up to? What are they up to? Such a lovely afternoon. Hello. So these Cape Cormorants, when they're in breeding plumage, they do have, yeah, I do love they get this orange eye. No, sorry, blue. So they get blue and orange eye. That's very shocking. Very beautiful color. It must be their break time. I feel like they've been out fishing and now they've all come in for a bit of a rest, bit of a break, and then they'll all head back out again and get busy. Seem like very hyperactive birds. I must say, they seem to not stop for a very long period of time while they're fishing, and then they come up and then spend a lot of time. So they've got actually lacking in oil preen glands have very interesting feathers that are specially modified and adapted so they're waterproof. So their feathers are almost like a scuba diving coat that makes them completely waterproof so that they can go under the water um, and swim with ease, and it helps them with that ducking and diving method of theirs. Hey, so you can see lots of kelp. So I was always very interested in Cape Town. Oh, I think oh yes, we have some penguins, some gulls. I can see some grey-headed. Is it no grey kelp? Sorry, kelp gulls. You get the grey-headed gulls in Cape Town. And then the kelp gulls are much bigger and lacking that grey head. And we've got some penguins. So yeah, it does always amaze me that the amount of kelp that does wash up onto the ocean in Cape Town. I've never really researched as to why. So if any of our Cape Townians are watching right now, I'd love to know why your beaches are always so filled with kelp. It seems to be a lot more kelp than I've experienced anywhere else. Yeah, but these penguins seem to be very happy. Also having a bit of a break from the fishing and resting up on the beach here. Yeah, so it can be quite difficult to see these penguins sometimes with all that kelp around. But yeah, I know that there is a very good cleanup crew that does clean up all this kelp from the beaches regularly. But yeah, quite hard to spot our little penguins. Seem to have quite a few visitors, these penguins. It's really great that this colony of penguins is actually very much protected in this area here in Cape Town year around. So I know that the colony was protected during the breeding season. There it was a protected area, but the fish were being completely demolished within that area. And I think only recently, about a year ago, 2 years ago, did they declare this whole area as a protected area year around, so not just for small periods of the year. So I'm very glad that this colony is being very well protected. Yeah, so that these penguins can live on to see another generation. Do love little penguins. So these are the formerly known as the jackass penguins, or now known as the African penguins. Let's see if we've got any more penguins close up. I know they do like hanging out on these cobbled rocks. And during COVID times, it was so awesome to watch documentaries of how I know there was a David Attenborough documentary with how everything in the natural environment just came alive. A lot of areas, a lot of cities started being taken over by wildlife again. And same with Cape Town. I believe there was a lot of caracal and serval starting to move into the suburbs and come down to Stony Point onto these beaches and actually start hunting the penguins. I'm sure the penguins are delighted that COVID is over and that they are safe from the caracals. Any other hyraxes out there? Let's see, any hyraxes. So just one hyrax for now. But yeah, these colonies of hyraxes can get quite massive, anything from about 4 to 15, even 20 individuals all in one colony. Although you can't see them, they are definitely there. Still around, still about. Oh, what do we have here? One of these agamas. Oh, check at that. Oh, very quickly disappeared. No, I do have some agama species that we have seen in Cape Town here. What agama could that have been? It's got a very interesting looking tail. Oh, little guy, please come out for us. No, we did. I have seen here at Cape Town the girdled lizard, so it could be the black girdled lizard. It'd be very cool if it was the black girdled lizard. Oh, you can just see a little bit of his tail and body. Very prehistoric looking lizards, quite scaly. There's about 20 to 21 known species of these girdled lizards within sub-Saharan Africa. Most of these girdled lizards do lives in cracks and crevices in rocks and mountains, so very rocky regions. So Cape Town is a perfect habitat for these girdled lizards. And a lot of these girdled lizard species do live at sea level in mountaintop areas. Seem to live in very good harmony with our hyraxes. He's giving himself a good scratch. These hyrax species, they are obviously because they don't spend much time doing much exercise, they do have very high fat content in their bodies. The coats to help insulate the body temperature. Um, they do get very cold at night, so that coat helps them to keep themselves warm. They do have very interesting, knobbly looking little toes with little toenails that also help them to be able to run and jump about on the rocks. And their toenails are actually modified also to help them while grooming. Those modified toenails, especially adapted for grooming purposes. It's like she's giving something a good sniff. So it's quite interesting how we've been seeing a lot of elephants today. So elephants and hyraxes are both actually descendants from a common ancestor. Unfortunately, that ancestor did die about 50 million years ago. So they are descendants of a common ancestor, although they're not closely related. So they do have a resemblance in the teeth structure, and of course, those toes are very similar structure to elephants. Um, these Rakdasis or Hyraxes. Looks like another individual who's got very fluffy ears. So they'll live in these colonies for most of their lives, hyraxes, even males. Although sometimes you do get solitary males as well, but generally they all live together in a big colony. So Julian Thomas, thanks for sending an update on those cormorants there. I was getting a little bit confused with the eye color. So apparently the Cape cormorant has a blue eye and red eye. Crowned cormorant has orange eye and yeah, orange eye, and same as the bank cormorant. So thanks for helping me on that. These coastal cormorant species sometimes confuse me a little bit. I do find it again so interesting how these whole bird species change during the breeding season in order to attract the female. We also got a comment from Erica Aldner about was wondering about this kelp and why there's so much kelp washing up on Cape Town beaches all the time. Apparently, it's from the southeasterly wind. Apparently, the wind is very good and kind of brings the kelp forest, yes, blows the kelp forest through and forms these very big dunes. So I guess it's a very good sign. So it means the kelp is a very healthy habitat for the kelp within this area. It's interesting. I didn't realize. Thank you so much, Erica. I didn't realize that you referred to a cluster, I would say a cluster of kelp as a forest. So even in the ocean, you do get forests of plant life. So apparently, a big cluster or accumulation of kelp is actually known as a kelp forest. So thank you very much, Erica, for sharing that information with us today. We learn something new every day. Very interesting to learn about Cape Town and all these interesting species and plants that occur there. Obviously, Cape Town is also famous for their fynbos. I had no idea how many different fynbos species there in Cape Town. I know it's got an immense fynbos population and a lot of protected reserves. Keep looking out for these seals. I'd love to see a seal or two. That would be pretty cool. Just before the end of the show. Where are our seals? These cormorants are looking like they're waiting to catch a wave, like surfers sitting out on the water, waiting to catch the next big wave into the ocean. And Grace, I agree with you there. This is definitely quite an idyllic life of a cormorant. They basically just enjoy sun tanning on the rocks and fish. Of course, they have to be very wary of predators. So, a lot of predators out there. Um, Sharks that might be keen to catch a cormorant. Well, Joanne Miller, this is a lovely place to end off our show today. In Stony Point, Cape Town, what a beautiful view. What a lovely day it has been. And yeah, just really enjoying watching and listening to the sounds of the ocean here in Cape Town. Our Hyrax is still around, hanging out on his little rock. Oh, there's another Hyrax. What a cool view. Alrighty, folks. Well, it has been a lovely afternoon here with you live at the Waterhole. Just want to say thank you to all of our viewers that have been watching today and sending through those questions and comments. Please don't forget to join in on the Sunset Safari coming up next from me and the rest of the Wild Earth crew. Wishing you a lovely afternoon.